Velvet Note's a place where you can see and hear world-class musicians in a setting that's as intimate and as comfortable as your very own living room. What we try to do here is bring down the wall that often exists between artists and audiences. We give you a chance to get to know the artist. You're always guaranteed a chance to meet the artist. And we also want you to hear the music the way that it was meant to be heard. We have the best jazz performers in the world who perform here. Grammy winners, people who are legends in the jazz field. And all you have to do is go right down the street. Here, you're able to see them, and they're right in front of you. They're an arm's length away from you. It's like they're performing a private concert for you and the people you love. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Hi, I'm Carla Harris. As a performer and as a listener who has enjoyed some incredible shows at the Velvet Note over the years, I've often been struck by how when people are inside those walls, the issues of the world outside just fall away, and the connection between everyone inside is heightened. To me, that is the power and the magic and the beauty of the live music experience. And it's why I hope that as you enjoy the encore concerts that the Velvet Note is streaming each weekend, that, if you are able, that you would click the donate button that you see somewhere on your screen, because when you do, you'll help the Velvet Note make it through this tough time and be there when we can gather again and feel that magic. So thanks for helping Tamara keep the stage lights and the twinkle lights on. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the music.
Please help us to keep this music coming from our living room to yours, especially during these challenging times. All you need to do is go to the donate button on our website or type into your URL thevelvetnote.com/donate. Any contribution you would choose to make means so much to us, and we really appreciate your support. Once again, you can donate at thevelvetnote.com/donate. Enjoy the show. Before we get started, let me introduce the band. Billy Thornton hails from the small town of Tifton, Georgia, the oldest of 4 children born to his band teacher father and piano teacher mother. By the age of 13, he knew for certain that he wanted to play the bass. He graduated from the Music School of University of North Florida, where he met future colleagues Kevin Bales and Justin Varnes, amongst others. Although he was always serious about and committed to his bass skills, many of his post-college years were spent in bar bands around Jacksonville, Florida, during which time he also began singing and playing guitar. His influences are diverse, ranging from Lynyrd Skynyrd and the Allman Brothers to iconic bassists Ray Brown and Paul Chambers. On stage, Billy is probably best known for his distinctively enthusiastic, energetic style, which is quite unusual for an upright bassist. He says, "If you see me dancing and smiling and sweating all over the place, it's because I'm happy. I decided a long time ago to be myself." Billy has played with acclaimed vibraphonist Christian Tamber and with international trumpeter Dominic Farinacci, with whom he performed for his TED Talk and his Jazz at Lincoln Center engagement in Qatar. In addition to his public and private performances, he is the professor of jazz bass studies in the Music School of Georgia State University. Robert Boone Jr. is an up-and-coming drummer and percussionist from Augusta, Georgia. He's played in a plethora of venues, including local nursing homes and elementary schools, and also more traditional venues such as the James Brown Arena, the Blue Note in Tokyo, Nagoya, and New York, Churchill Grounds, the Velvet Note, the Cobb Energy Center, Spivey Hall, Yoshi's, Birdland Jazz Club, and a host of major jazz festivals across the United States. He received an undergraduate degree in music performance at Kennesaw State University, studying with percussion professor John Lawless and jazz drum set professor Justin Shazarek. He was selected to participate in the 2015 Disneyland All-American College Band. Boone recently graduated from Florida State University with his master's degree in jazz studies and is now the current drummer for the legendary Count Basie Orchestra. Devon Gates is a bassist and vocalist from Atlanta, Georgia. As a high school student, she studied with Dr. Gordon Vernick, Kevin Bales, and Billy Thornton as part of the Georgia State University Rialto Honors Combo, with which she released the album Playing the Music of Roy Hargrove in 2019. This fall, she began college at Harvard University, studying music and the social sciences while pursuing a dual degree with Berklee College of Music in jazz performance. Between these institutions, she has been able to study with Linda O., Chris Davis, Terry Lynn Carrington, Esperanza Spalding, and Vijay Iyer, in addition to performing with artists such as Dee Dee Bridgewater and Tia Fuller. She is also passionate about her role as an arranger and a featured performer in the Harvard Opportunes a cappella ensemble and involvement with Berklee's Institute for Jazz and Gender Justice.
This is so unlike a regular gig, but I need it. I'm so excited. I was supposed to be in my very first gigs ever. We're playing trumpet and salsa bands. My favorite thing about jazz, wow, it's so weird. For a musician, I think this is the best advice. Is that true?
It is.
Wow. Thank you. I mean, it happens often. I'll say what I really mean with love, and I'll find out later that it offended me. I love you.
Welcome to Tales from the Road. Tonight we are featuring the Kevin Bales trio with special guest Devon Gates. And this is a little different than what we typically do. It's an opportunity for us to really get to know Kevin in a way that I certainly haven't before, and you probably haven't either. So thanks a lot for tuning in with us tonight. Before we get started, I want to mention two things. One, these guys came out of shelter in place to play live on this stage for you right now. And so I just want you to send them that virtual hug that you've been saving up, all that love. They deserve it. And they came without any guarantee of what they're going to get paid. And what they're going to get paid is completely up to you. So please take this moment now before we get started and show them your love by hitting the donate button on the Velvet Note website. And if you can't see that, go to thevelvetnote.com/donate. Thevelvetnote.com/donate. And that will help us to pay them. And as you all know, as for those of you who have been showing us your support over the last few weeks and months, it'll also help us to make sure that we are here when we get to the other side of this current pandemic, and that we keep the lights on and everything's working. So we appreciate your support. Mostly we appreciate them coming out for such an incredible show, and we ask you to please show your love by donating at thevelvetnote.com/donate. Secondly, I've been taking an opportunity every night, as whether we're streaming live or we're streaming live previously recorded, to acknowledge those of you who are on date night. And every night I just acknowledge a special couple, and my special couple tonight is John and Linda. I know that you're watching, and I just want you to know, for all the things you are, we love you so much. Happy date night.
That's
All right,
awesome.
so let's get started. You ready?
I'm
You nervous?
ready. I have some trepidation, but I'm excited about this.
I've been waiting to ask you some questions, Kevin Bales.
I mean, very
Here we
clear. We talked about this almost 2.5 months ago
go. We did.
when I played here, right at the beginning of all this.
Yeah.
And I just loved your idea of doing this kind of like inside the actor's studio, but camera spin. So I said, ask me anything.
Okay.
So
Here
we're
you go.
going to see what happens.
First question is very easy.
Okay.
Where were you born?
Monroe, Louisiana. However, yeah, right.
I didn't know that.
Monroe, Louisiana. However, we moved here, I don't know, I think I was like 6 months old. I have no connection with Monroe at all. Not personally, although anytime I go to New York, people are like, you must be from Louisiana. I do not think my accent
No,
sounds
definitely not.
Louisiana. And I have to mention, when I go to Europe, they say I'm from New York, which I don't think I have a New York accent either.
You don't.
I have an Atlanta accent. I'm born and raised here.
I don't
know
think you
what
have
that
that
means.
either.
Well, I grew up in the city. You did not.
Okay, all right, okay, all right.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up all over the place. My father was in the military.
I always think you're in D.C. for some reason. Is there any connection?
Yeah, no, I used to live in D.C.
You have a D.C. accent.
Yeah.
M Street.
This is your
Just making
interview,
that
not
up.
mine.
I know. But we're going to spar the whole time. It's good.
Okay, all right.
Just like inside the actor studio. Pretend I'm Johnny Depp, but not really. I'm sorry I said that.
Really?
Oh my God. He's awesome. I'm not. Okay, let's move on.
What was your birth name?
My birth name? I love this story. All three of my older siblings have truly unusual names, one-of-a-kind names. They're much older than me. I was supposed to be a girl. When I was born with the extra plumbing, so to speak,
Okay.
they were like, ah. Oh, also I had red hair when I was born, bright red.
Wow.
Didn't last long.
Okay.
And they were like, Kevin. My middle name's Sean. I have the most Irish name possible. Kevin Sean Bales. I grew up at the bottom of Beaufort Highway, at the beginning of the great cultural expansion that happened there. Our next door neighbors moved from mainland China to America to open a Chinese restaurant. One of the very first Chinese restaurants. They used to babysit me. I used to grow up eating their wok-cooked food. And then, in high school, I never ate at the cafeteria. I walked down to the restaurant and ate there. I grew up with this. And because of this, I'm going to connect this to music. My very first gigs ever were playing trumpet and salsa bands on Beaufort Highway. And I was usually the only one who spoke English. Sometimes the bass player spoke.
So you play trumpet?
I played trumpet as long as I played piano. Yes, it's true. You didn't know this.
I didn't.
Unfortunately, there's YouTube video of it. Listen, by the time I was 20, I'd already decided piano was for me.
It's you I like, not the things you wear, not the way you do your hair, but it's you I like. Where you are right now, the way down deep inside you, not the things that hide you, not your toys, they're just beside you, but it's you I like, every part of you, your skin, your eyes, your feelings, old to new. Hope that you remember even when you're feeling blue, that it's you I like, it's you yourself, it's you I like.
it for Devon Gates? She just got her driver's license.
So I got a couple more of these hard-hitting questions. Where were you educated?
I don't think I'm educated, but I tell people I've got a funny answer to this. And when the coronavirus started, a dear mentor of mine passed away. I was in Jacksonville for the funeral, kind of when everything unfolded. On my drive back from Jacksonville, every gig for like the next 4 months was canceled. And it was a beautiful, amazing musician, drummer named Von Barlow. He was like a father to me, a great musician. And for years I've been telling people that I went to the University of Von Barlow. But the truth is I'm very lucky. The 80s and the 90s were an amazing time for jazz in terms of there was this big renaissance. But the old masters were still accessible in a slightly different way than it is now. And my list of masterful musicians who embraced me when I wasn't worthy, but recognized my love of the music, right, and taught me is long. It's very, very humbling when I realize this, especially when you look back and you remember that at the age of 21, I didn't appreciate how great it was that I toured with Louis Bellson's big band, or played with Clark Terry, or that Buddy DeFranco. I'm not name dropping; it's relevant here. Buddy DeFranco used me for every New Year's Eve gig in Florida for 4 years, and he was hard on me, but they believed in me. So my favorite thing about jazz is how the education works. Yes, I went to Georgia State University for 3 years as a classical major. I moved to University of North Florida to get a jazz degree where they hired me before I graduated and I taught. I did a 1-year master's at Florida State University. None of that compares to the education I received from being part of a community of musicians. And jazz is truly this thing. It's why I decided to play it. That it's involved in each generation, helping all of the generations. Even now, you can see, I had the great 2 years working with this series of young musicians.
Rialto?
Yeah, they're amazing. Some of the best young musicians I've ever met. And I've sat there and watched them teach younger musicians at the same time. I mean, reveling in this love that's present there. And then watching my college students work with them. You go on the bandstand, you have the same thing going on, always. This community. And it's not age necessarily. Like I get schooled by these young guys all the time. Look, I tune in all the time. I'm gonna say this name out loud. I tune in all the time here to hear either Kevin Bales Jr. or Nick Rosen play. They play the living shit out of the piano. I'm gonna curse because it's relevant. And I've known Nick since he was 16 or 17. But there's nothing competitive here. It's a community of things. And that's, if you ask me where I got educated, I'm still being educated by this beautiful community. And right now, during coronavirus, you can see all of this online, how all the jazz musicians are helping each other and doing stuff. It's such a beautiful thing.
Kevin, if you don't know him, is one of the most prolific performers here in the area. He has not only performed all over the country and all over the world, arranger, a headliner, a sideman. He is also the human being who has performed on this stage more times than anybody else in our 8-year history. And that, for us,
Is that true?
It is.
Wow, thank you. No, it matters.
No, thank you. Really. And Kevin is also so generous. When we were picking out our piano, which is going to be performing on tonight, he not only helped us to pick it out, he helped us to afford to get it. And I just want you to know who he is. So we're going to ask him some rapid fire questions that are designed to both share and embarrass.
Okay, let's go. I heard you, rapid fire, because I'm ready to play, but let's do this.
Alrighty, here we go. What's your favorite piece of music?
Oh my God, I can't answer that quickly. Oh my gosh. For the most sentimental reasons, Peter and the Wolf by Tchaikovsky, because my father brought it home for me on LP. He was gone all the time. He brought me 3 records that changed my life. I'm talking about the age of 6, 7, 8, 9. He brought me the soundtrack to Batman, the soundtrack to West Side Story. I used to act the whole thing out. I didn't know that the Sharks and Jets were gangs. I thought they were Sharks and Jets. It's true. Jumping off the couch with my airplane wings out. And then Peter and the Wolf by Tchaikovsky. I would cry. You know, when the wolf, I can't even say it. I mean, there's something, if you know Tchaikovsky, I didn't know at that young age how poignant Tchaikovsky was and how much of him was in this children's song. But it's true. And I almost, people tell me often when I play that what they like the most is not how I look or my stage presence, it's my storytelling. And it's all related to this record, Peter and the Wolf, because I would listen to the whole thing.
What is the song that you least like to play?
Achy Breaky Heart.
Who is the hero you'd most like to spend a day with?
Believe it or not, Louis Armstrong. People don't know the hero he was. But now people that he anonymously lifted up. I'm not even talking musically. Let's leave out the millions and millions of people in America and other countries that he lifted up and gave hope to through his music. Let's just talk about his personal life, the amount of people that he lifted up anonymously. I would love to meet him. Of course, I'm a musician. I want to meet Louis Armstrong. So I don't know. I'm rapid fire, and we're done.
Okay, all right. What turns you on creatively?
Individuality. Someone who gets on stage and is fearlessly themselves, like Billy Thornton. Or a very young Devon Gates, who apparently does not show any fear. First time I played with her, I don't know, I thought she was 12 or something. We're playing at this jazz camp and she started singing. And I just pushed a little bit, can you go here? And she was like, I love that. She went with it 1,000%. And I was only tipping. And then we even farther. And she was like, yeah. And then she pushed me back. I'm not used to young musicians, first of all, knowing how to push back, much less having the bravery to do it.
Yeah.
And I could tell she didn't even care. She wasn't thinking she was pushing back. She was just completely immersed in the song. And everyone in the audience, this first time I ever played with her, everyone in the audience knew this too. It's one of these special moments, doesn't happen very often. Someone who gets on stage and they're going to be themselves, they can play all the wrong notes, but if they're authentic, I'm in. This is called I Thought About You.
I took a trip on a train and I thought about you. I crossed a shadowy lane, and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding street, moon shining down on some little town, and with each beat, the same old dream, and every stop that we made, I thought about you. And then I pulled down the shade. Oh, I really felt the blue. I peeked through the crack and I looked at the track. The one that leads back to you. And what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? I thought about you. I took a trip on a train, and I thought about you. I passed the shadowy lane, and I thought about you. Oh, 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, and I was a winding street, moon shining down over some little town, and we'll each be the same, and every stop that we made, I thought about you. And then I pulled down the shade. I peeked through the crack and I looked at the track. The one that leads me back to you. And what did I do? What did I thought about you. And I thought about you. I crossed the shadowy lane. I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, that winding street. Moon shining down over some little town, and with me the same of a tree. Every step that we made, I thought about you. I pulled down the shade and I really the blue eyes. I looked through the crack and peeked at the track. Oh, the one that leads back to you. What did I do? How did I? What did I do? What did I? What did I? About you.
done that with you. I'm trying to make it rapid fire. Let's go.
All right, no, this is good. All right, so what's your favorite food?
Sushi. That's a new acquisition. Maybe 10 years, but it's my favorite thing ever. House of Hayagawa on Buford Highway. I hope they're doing well. That is the most amazing place for sushi, including San Francisco. If you don't know about House of Hayagawa, the chef Hayagawa, he's a genius. Okay, keep going.
All right. What's your favorite curse word?
I grew up in a house with no cursing.
Okay.
Zero cursing. I've never heard any of my parents ever curse. The closest my mother got was to say hell. And she used it kind of literally, not ironically, not angrily. You know, like hell is a place mentioned in the Bible. So I don't have a favorite curse word. And I had to become a musician to learn to curse. And I'm still uncomfortable with it.
Oh, good to know. Who is your favorite musician?
I've got a list. Beethoven, Duke Ellington, John Coltrane, Miles Davis. These, you asked me about why it turned me on the most. These are people who are fiercely individual. Duke Ellington, I mean, what he did is still underappreciated. It's unbelievable the amount of music he created, the amount of musicians he interacted with, and the truly unique Americanness as a composer he created. You Google right now the top 5 American composers, he's not listed. And he should be. Beethoven, he's like the first jazz musician. He's the first musician to make a living off of his own music, not being a servant to a noble person. He fought them for it. He believed that a musician, or any human being, should be measured by the quality of their deeds and achievement, not by their bloodline. And he fought for this. He's got a famous quote. He said, "There's been many kings and noble people, but only one Beethoven." And he can get away with it. It's true. It's so true. Favorite pianist, that's a whole other story. But, my favorite thing about jazz is the community of it, and I feel like I've listened to everyone 1,000 times. I collect favorites. I'm always looking for a new next person that I'm in love with. Right now, I'm in love with a Brazilian singer named Rosa Passos. She's number 1 on my list of people I want to play with. If by any chance she was watching this, I will move heaven and earth to play one song with you. Okay, let's go on.
Oh, okay. What sound or noise do you love?
The sound of unaffected love and appreciation, which you can take that any way you want.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Judgment. That makes a sound. It does. I can feel it in the audience. It's fine. I had one guy when I was first playing a gig. I had the steady gig with my favorite trio on Monday nights at this place, and he would dance there with his wife and always ask for songs. We'd play them the best we could. And he, at the end of the night, he would always dance by us and say, "You guys are so bad. I want you to play my funeral." Which is a funny line. But after like a month of this, we all got fat. We came up and said that. I said, "Okay, let's book it." that does not, if you don't enjoy a show, fine. But don't say it to us. It's already hard enough to get on stage and reach that place where you're going to be yourself and the music becomes magic. So when people are judgmental, which people are, that's human nature. I get it. Okay.
The Velvet Note's a place where you can see and hear world-class musicians in a setting that's as intimate and as comfortable as your very own living room. What we try to do here is bring down the wall that often exists between artists and audiences. We give you a chance to get to know the artist. You're always guaranteed a chance to meet the artist. And we also want you to hear the music the way that it was meant to be heard. We have the best jazz performers in the world who perform here. Grammy winners, people who are legends in the jazz field. And all you have to do is go right down the street. Here, you're able to see them, and they're right in front of you. They're an arm's length away from you. It's like they're performing a private concert for you and the people you love. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
What profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt?
Attempt? Well, A lot of people don't know this. Before I became a jazz musician, I was a computer programmer of some fame and success. And I, quite notable to me, made the decision to become a jazz musician overnight. I had a dream, had a job in an office, and I realized I needed to change my life. I went to my boss and told him, I'm sorry, I've got to give you 2 weeks' notice. He says, why? What's wrong? Are you okay? He says, I'm fine. I've decided to become a jazz musician. And he could not process it. It gets worse. There was a brand new jazz school in Jacksonville, Florida. He said, so you're moving to New York? I said, no, I'm moving to Jacksonville, Florida. He's like, what? You know, I miss programming sometimes. You know, during this coronavirus, video games have been having a huge renaissance, and that's why I wrote a bunch of famous video games. Don't Google it. If you do, fine.
Oh, no, you got to tell me one. One famous
Well,
game.
the most famous one is an Internet Archive for the history of video games. It's called Castle Adventure.
It's called what?
Castle Adventure.
Castle Adventure.
It's so old. I was 15 or 14 when I wrote it. The spelling's horrible. But it was the first game to combine text with graphics in a RPG format.
Okay.
So it's been around, and there have been times where I've been like a music workshop, and someone in the audience will say, "Are you Kevin Bales?" And I'll be like, "Oh my God, they heard me play somewhere. This is great." And they're like, "I learned to read on Castle Adventure." I'm like, "Oh no."
So in addition to teaching many people to play, you've also taught some people to read.
Badly, because the spelling is horrible. It was this game I wrote for love. And the interesting thing is the creative process and writing a program is so similar to music. It really is. Not because of everyone says it's because of math. It's not because of the math. It's because you're creating something that never existed before and only you created it. That requires both an understanding of tradition but also individuality. And I meet now usually it's the other way around. People have been trying to be a musician and then they become a programmer. And I'm the other way, you know? Okay, so I would love if you know, my arms got cut off or I couldn't play anymore, I would go back to creating software. I would.
Okay.
Or buy a ranch. Let's keep going.
All right. What?
You're laughing, that's good. Hopefully everyone else is laughing too. That's not you. Devon's laughing.
What is the profession you would least like to have?
Don't hold me to this.
Okay.
Like club owner.
Really?
I think it's so hard what you do. It's
Lay it on me.
anytime I have to play a gig and I have to think about the money or the ticket sales, no offense, and I do care, or if my musicians are going to be happy, or if the audience it ruins, it gets in the way of the music. And so many other people that understand this, musicians. Well, I'm a side man, and other people take care of that stuff. I can get to the special spot. So everyone says, open a club, you should do this. First of all, I don't know anything about running a club. I have experienced great clubs by playing out, so I have experience of that. But that's a far jump from the actual thing. And I think if I opened the club, I would not be able to make music. There it is.
What's the best advice you ever received?
Oh my God, that's Ben Tucker, the great bass player. So I'm very lucky to be a mentor. If you don't know Ben Tucker, look him up. He's passed away now. He's not only a great musician, an important motivator in the civil rights movement, just great guy. This guy who came up with Schoolhouse Rock. I don't know if you knew that. It's true. Him and Bob Duro did it together. I played with him regularly in Savannah, and one time, I'd only been playing with him like half a year. He says, Kevin, stop trying to play like other people. Partner. He always said partner. Every sentence ended with the word partner. Partner, but he said partner. He's from Tennessee. His Stop playing like other people. Be your own damn self. And he would say with some disgust, for a musician, I think this is the best advice. Because so many of the young people who I work with, who I love, but they get enamored with selling other people. We list like 100 saxophone players from 1959. I'm just picking a random year, right? None of them will sound the same. I could easily list 100 famous saxophone players together, forgive me, who mostly sound the same. And there's something, I still love them, there's something a little sad there in terms of what we're supposed to be doing as musicians. And notice I didn't say jazz musicians. Okay.
All right. What do you wish people knew about you?
That I actually love everyone. I'm bad at showing it. I really do. My whole life, this is so true of so many musicians. One of the reasons we play music is that it's such a safe place. I can be on stage. It's not that I don't care about the audience, I do, but I don't have to look at them, and the music loves me. Duke Ellington, his memoir summarizes it. He says, music is my mistress. The love affair with music is such a thing. It keeps you safe, and people are always surprised when I tell them now they're surprised that I'm a deep extrovert. I mean, deep introvert, deeply so. And if you imagine me computer programming, I would go weeks without talking to someone, and it was comfortable. And when I play the piano, I don't have to worry about those problems I have with talking to people. I genuinely love everyone, but it doesn't come across that way. I know this, it's okay. It does when I play, though. I really believe that.
Okay. What are you afraid people will think about you?
That I don't like people. I don't know. I mean, it happens often. I'll say what I really mean with love, and I'll find out later that it offended them. I don't like offending them.
You get to choose the last words you'll ever hear. What are they?
I love you. You know how much I'm enamored with Fred Rogers, right? Mm-hmm. So he did something that's very mysterious and mystical, but he really did this. He kept his body weight at 143 for his entire adult life. He would swim every morning and go on the scale and figure out what he needed to do to stay at 143. 143. And the reason is that represents the words, I love you. 1, 4, 3. That's not a made-up story. It's true. Right?
Wow.
And he knew that it was superstitious, but he viewed it as a ritual, an action that would help him be that way. He was, if you've ever seen the documentary, his wife talks about it. She says very clearly, he was a flawed guy. He was not perfect. Don't make a mistake. The person who's making the documentary, the reporter, is like, she says, the one thing I ask of you is don't make him a saint. He's not. He's a human being like everyone else. He has to try really hard at this. And this idea of 143, I love you. And everyone needs to hear this all their whole life. Tamara, stay with me. I love you.
Kevin, I love you.
Thank you. Let's make some music, I think.
Okay, all right, let's get these guys up here.
And let's hear again for Billy Thornton, Robert Boone, and home from Harvard, Miss Devon Gates. Come on stage, please. I'm Kevin Bales. Let's one more round of applause for Andrea, who is doing our sound tonight. Not an easy thing. And of course, Tamara Fuller. I've said this to her already. I want to look at the three of you. Look at me, please. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. We're going to play one more song. This is by Mr. Rogers. And I think, all of us are experiencing this thing where, we don't know what day of the week it is or how many weeks has passed. The song is appropriate. It's called I Like to Take My Time.
Like to take my time, I mean that. When I go to do a thing, I like to take my time and do it right. I know I might just make mistakes if I should have to hurry up. And so I like to take my time to tie my shoes, to read, to get dressed, to go to sleep at night, to sing a song for you and everything that you do. I like to take my time when I go to do a thing. I like to take my time and do it right. I know I might just make mistakes if I am asked to hurry up, and so I like to take my time. a time.
Hey everyone, I hope you are all home, safe, healthy, taking advantage of all this time that we get now. Thank you for listening. Once again, Billy Thornton, Robert Boone, our rising star, so humble, is Devon Gates. And for the Velvet Note, please support the venues. We want them to all be here. This is all done. Let's hear it again for Tamara Fuller and
Let's hear it for Kevin Bales.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This is what we love to do still, which is to bring you closer to artists who inspire you, closer to each other, and closer to the song that's in your heart. Come back and see us as soon as you can. Good night.